Welcome to the Well-Equipped Kitchen and in Joe's Kitchen to part 3 on our Trio of Lambs series. And what we're going to look at today is the Saucier's special pans. I have a whole collection of them in front of me. I'm going to pull down one more for you here. These are the Saucier's special pans. Right here is the first copper pan I ever bought. This, according to the guru of cookware at Eau de Hilleran, one of the greatest cooking shops in the world, if not the greatest cooking shop in the world, located in Paris, France, near the original Les Halles, which is no longer there, of course, is this pan here is for making the sauce. This is a Chateau Zevassi. I have a slightly larger one here. I have a smaller one. This is similar to a Saucier, which I have right here. But the bottom sides are straight and not rounded. They also make them old school ones you can find in aluminum. This is made by Matfer. This is a perfect pan for making the sauce. It's wide on the top and slightly narrower at the bottom, but it allows for reduction and evaporation and concentration of flavors. The second one we're going to be looking at today is this right here. This is the Windsor saucepan. This is designed for reduction. This one is made by Alclad, and this is 3 layers. The inside layer is non-reactive stainless steel. The middle layer is aluminum, and the outside layer is stainless steel. This is a heavy Windsor saucepan. This is a heavy bottomed Windsor saucepan, being that there's the aluminum disc on the bottom here. This is made by Wolfgang Puck, which the pot is stainless steel, and the bottom is also stainless steel, but with the aluminum disc. And the handles are designed so that they don't get super hot. The next on the line here, we have here, this is an Alclad Saucier. This is an old school Master Chef one. It's brushed aluminum on the outside, which is just the whole layer into the inside, and then it's got the internal stainless steel non-reactive layer. This is also would be considered a Saucier. It's also known as a risotto pan. This is made by Ruffoni. It's designed for making risotto, but it's also great for making sauces as well. But this one, you're not going to make reactive sauces that contain a lot of acidity. You can do white sauces and many brown sauces and sauces from velouté. You're not going to do tomato sauces in this pan here. One more word about these Windsor saucepans. The other tool that these are great for, along with reduction. What I mean by reduction is making red wine reduction, reducing beef stock to make glace de viande or veal stock, making glace de volaille out of beautiful chicken stock. Also for reducing vinegar. You're going to make gastrique or you're going to make balsamic vinegar reduction, this is your pan. The other good thing about this pan, this is the ideal pan for making a hollandaise sauce, and I'm going to have an episode on the hollandaise family, a nice crossover episode on the hollandaise family, and we will talk about these pans and how it's easy to make hollandaise sauce. The next pan here, this is a Japanese nabe pan. This is what the Japanese cooks and chefs use to make sauces and for heating up ramen broth. This is a Japanese pan here. It's made out of stainless steel. It functions very well. It's great. I have a couple special pans here. First of all, I have this milk pan here. This is made by Bordelaise in France. This is not a required pan to have. You could do the same job in one of these pans or a straight-sided saucepan. But this is a milk pan, or milk pot as it's also known. They also make them out of copper. It's designed for scalding milk, and it's got a lip on it that allows you to pour, so you can have your roux in another pan, and then you're pouring in your hot dairy mixture into your cold roux. This is very commonly used when making ice creams, and I will show you how to make ice cream down the line, and we're going to use this pot. The other one I have here is enameled cast iron, and this is a straight-sided enameled cast iron saucepan. This is another great pan in the saucier's arsenal. This is great for making things like pastry, cream, and white sauces because it's heavy. You can also make creme anglaise in here fairly easily. Because it's heavy, you can really control the heat. This also makes a great fondue pot. On a burner, you can do nice fondue in there as well. That's a selection of the pans for this in the saucier's arsenal. We're going to use a couple of them today. And I'm going to show you how to make the sauce Bordelaise for our trio of lamb. So when we come back, we're going to be at the stove with some of our pans here, and we're going to make the beautiful sauce espagnole. I'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Well-Equipped Kitchen and in Joe's Kitchen, to episode number 4. Let me just turn off my timer here. And we looked at the saucier's special pans. Now I have 3 of them here. I have 2 Chateaux Evacies because we're going to have to strain this sauce once it's done. This is our beautiful braising liquid from yesterday, and I have it defatted and it's been heated. And I have about a teaspoon of clarified butter in the pan here. And we're going to heat up this pan here on high, and we're going to sweat out a shallot first. We're going to make our sauce Bordelaise. We're going to heat up the clarified butter. We're going to sweat out the shallot with a couple of sprigs of thyme and 2 small bay leaves. We also have some mignonette of black pepper and some parsley sprigs, and we do have a little salt, and we have our red wine. This is a Medoc, a French wine. Nice one, it works well for cooking, and it's lovely. And then to finish the sauce, we're actually going to use some marrow butter. But when we actually finish the sauce will be in our last episode, which is Dinner at Joe's. We'll show you how to finish the sauce. Now that the butter is heating, we're going to add our shallots in here. Add them all in. The goal here is we're going to sweat the shallots. You don't want to get any color on them. We're going to add a little salt at this point. We're going to toss in our bay and our thyme. I'm going to pull that little piece out. It's a little bit of the root end here, which we don't need. We'll turn down our heat just a little bit. Because we're just sweating here. You don't want to get any color on these shallots whatsoever. That will change their flavor when they get color. So just continue here to sweat them out. When they are tender, we're going to add our red wine, which is the flavoring of this sauce is red wine. It doesn't take long to sweat the shallots out. And once we add the red wine, we're going to turn the heat back up to high because we need to reduce the red wine by 3/4 to concentrate its flavor. Then we're going to add our hot braising liquid here that we have ready to go, which is lovely. It's wonderful, and that is seasoned, so we won't have to add any extra salt until we do our last seasoning before we stop the sauce, because we're going to halt the sauce before finishing. We're going to halt the sauce. Now we're going to up the heat to high, and we're going to put in our red wine. We're going to put about a third of a bottle in here. I'm going to put a dash more salt, and then we're going to add our parsley sprig and our mignonette of pepper, which just means that the pepper has been cracked. And what I'm going to add just a touch more wine here. We're going to bring it to maybe close to half a bottle. We are going to use a drop more wine towards the end of this process. Now we need to bring this to a boil and reduce it down. This is going to be the flavor that's going to flavor our sauce. We're going to use this wine at the end, just a few drops, for a little bit of perky acidity. So just wait till that comes to a boil. And once that comes to a boil, we're going to drop it. We're going to let it reduce down by 3/4, so it's going to be nice and concentrated. And we're not making a lot of sauce here. We're serving 4 people, and you don't need a lot of sauce. All the sauce is going to be nice, intense, and robust, so you don't need to drown everything in sauce. So I'm seeing it come to a boil, and we're going to let it boil furiously until it comes down to by 3/4. Some sauces like Marchand de Vin, which is a similar sauce, you reduce by 2/3. This you reduce by 3/4. We're going to reduce by 3/4 because we want that nice concentrated taste. And this, if I had to pick, this might be one of my absolute favorite sauces because it's simpler than some of the other sauces that require lots more ingredients. And many of them require the old school sauces call for game trimmings and whatever you're going to serve, like a sauce Talleyrand calls for game trimmings and all different kinds of ingredients. This is a simpler sauce made from simple demi-based sauce or Espanol-based sauce. We did use demi in our braise, which adds a little bit of thickness. Because as you can see here, and this liquid I defatted. It's sat overnight in the refrigerator, and I just removed the layer of fat, and I have just heated it hot so that the process will, once we put the demi in there, or liquid in there, it'll take about 20 minutes to simmer, and then we will strain into a clean pot here, which is where we will adjust the seasoning ever so slightly. And then we're going to let it actually cool off because we're going to finish it in my parents' kitchen. We will finish it there with marrow butter at the end, which is going to add that nice little bit of, it's going to thicken ever so slightly and just add that richness back into the sauce. Because a Bordelaise always has, I like the marrow butter because it makes it more pleasing to more people, rather than seeing a slice of bone marrow, which I would have no problems with, but it just makes it more pleasing for people who are not used to bone marrow, and to give that nice flavor. That's why I like the marrow butter, but you could, if you're going to serve this sauce with a steak, you could, like entrecôte Bordelaise, you could definitely poach bone marrow if you like. And the Marchand de Vin sauce doesn't have quite the flavoring, and it's just doesn't have the marrow in it, and it's just a wine and demi, reduced wine and demi. This one just has a wonderful flavor when you're doing prime rib at Christmas. This is a great sauce to serve with prime rib on the side. It's a nice sauce. And if you got any good prime rib drippings, defat the prime rib drippings and they can be whisked into the sauce for enrichment. It's important to reduce this properly. If you don't reduce the wine will have a raw taste, and you don't want that. Even though we are going to put a drop of wine at the end, you don't want the taste of raw wine. That's why you got to be careful and just follow the steps carefully. Let it reduce. It's beautiful. And also what I have here, the chinois. This is an important piece of equipment for the saucier's arsenal. If you don't have a chinois, I would get one. You could try and use, I'll show it to you, a standard medium mesh sieve, but it's not going to be the same as a chinois. Chinois is very fine holes on it, which gives the best, it strains it out perfectly. That's what we're going to use for this recipe. This is chinois. This is a nice Italian made one, and it has the little, as you can see here, right here, bump, and right here, bump. So it'll fit on a pot. It'll fit on the side of a pot or across. If you're doing it this way, it'll fit across a pot. This, it'll fit on the edge of the pot. So it's important to have one, especially for sauces like this where you have to strain out all the ingredients. We are almost reduced here. And then we're going to add the braising liquid hot. We'll bring it back to a boil, and then we'll drop it to a simmer, and it's going to go for 20 minutes. And after those 20 minutes, we'll come back to it, and we'll strain it out and give it our final taste test. And we'll do the finishing at the moment with a little bit of wine, and then adjust with a little salt if need be. And then we're going to check it for salt and pepper at the end of the when we serve. Right before service, we'll whisk in our marrow butter and check it one final time, which is at that time we will put some ground pepper in here. This has the mignonette pepper in it right now, but we're going to put a little bit of ground pepper in at the end. I'm looking at this and it's just about there. Yep. Yes. The wine has reduced enough. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab our liquid here. I'm going to pour it in. Turn off the back burner. Being that it was hot, now we're going to turn this down to a low simmer, and 20 minutes from now this will be done. I'll come back in 20 minutes and show you how to finish this sauce, how to interim finish this sauce. Welcome back to the well-equipped kitchen and in Joe's kitchen, and our sauce Bordelaise, which is done. So I'm going to turn it off, and we're now going to strain this out. I'm going to pour it into our chinois like so. And I'm going to take the pan off the heat. And then here's the important, hold on, get my microphone situated here. The important tip here, I'm going to tap on the chinois and press out all the goodness here. Okay, that's it. Next, we'll remove that. Now we'll put this in the center here so we can all see it. Grab a little whisk. This point, we're going to taste it. It's going to get a touch more salt. We're not going to put any pepper in this right now. We're not going to overly season it right now because it's going to change later. And we're going to put in our drop of wine. About a scant tablespoonful, not much at all. The wine just going to use, it's an acidic ingredient, just going to perk it a little bit. This we're going to cool. And then later we will reheat it. Oh, that's good. So we'll let this cool off now. Stay tuned for the next episode which is going to be Dinner at Joe's, where we're going to show you how to make the centerpiece, which is the herbed rack of lamb, and how to assemble everything. See you then.